Is living in Phoenix, Arizona as affordable as people say it is? Well, in today's video, I am going over all the costs that you should definitely be thinking about prior to making the move to the Phoenix metro area. If that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and keep on watching. Welcome back to Phoenix Living. I'm Nicole Baker. Today we are going over exactly that. But before we get started, you know the drill. I have to let you guys know I'm a licensed realtor here in this beautiful state. So if you've been interested in relocating, feel free to reach out. My number and email are popping up. And if you're not quite ready to reach out yet, no problem. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be posting videos every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. so you guys can get all the content about moving to the Phoenix metro area, whether that be what to do when relocating, certain city and price points and all of the things that you need to keep in mind when you're thinking about relocating, right? So that is what this channel is about. So go ahead and subscribe, but let's get started in this video. All right, guys, getting right into it, we are going to first start off with utilities. Utilities is something that I think is super important when it comes to Arizona because of how hot it gets, specifically during the summertime. So you guys definitely want to plan for this within your budget. So when we're talking about utilities, obviously this is very dependent on the size of your home and how hot it might have been during that summer or how cold it is during the winter. So obviously take everything with a grain of salt and plan ahead. Make sure you guys are asking this kind of information when you reach out to me of like, if it's really important to you, maybe we can get some more information from the sellers and things like that. But for a broad understanding of how much you guys can expect to pay on, say, a 1,500 square foot home, which is a very basic, good starter home for a smaller family or just a couple or something like that. But 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, we'll base it off of all of that, right? We're gonna probably expect during those summer months, of course, you're going to be running your AC pretty much constantly. In Arizona, because it is so hot during the summers, especially on those June, July, and probably even going into August, you are going to basically, like, your AC is not going to be able to keep up with how hot it is outside. So even if you have it set for, say, 73 degrees, it's probably going to be set at 76, or say that it's trying to cool off to get to that 73, but always stay at 76 because of the fact that our ACs are just not powerful enough to keep up with the heat. It is just that hot here. So with that in mind, your AC is running constantly. So you want to plan for at least on that kind of square footage home, probably close to $200 a month just during those summer months. So really, really keep that in mind. And I know it's a good amount, but we want to make sure that you guys are planning ahead, basically, right? And that's on a small home. Of course, if you want to keep your temperature set at 65 degrees, your bill's gonna be a lot different, right? I'm just saying for an average temperature that people are probably keeping their house around 73 to 75 degrees during those summer months specifically, you are probably gonna be looking at least $200 for your AC. So keep that in mind. A lot of homes here do have solar, so that's a really good option if you're looking into that. My home in Arizona does have solar and it ends up saving me a good amount. Sometimes be fair warned that if you guys do find a house and it has solar, we want to make sure we're looking into that solar payment and if it actually makes sense for you to purchase a home with solar if it is leased. So for example, I had a client who was looking at a home for, it was like a $250,000 home at the time. And the solar payment was going to be like $300. And it was going to be one of the type of solar payments that goes up every single year. Those aren't necessarily bad, but the fact that it was already starting at $300 means that the person that purchased that or got in that lease agreement for the solar was already scammed from the get-go. So no matter what, the solar, the AC would have been cheaper without the solar, if that makes sense, because you're obviously going to have to pay for your AC and you have to pay for the solar. For example, if your bill is $200 a month and then you also have to pay for your solar, you end up paying closer to $300 or $400. sometimes it still makes sense. We just have to calculate that in advance. So that's something that I do for all my clients. If it is solar, we're always asking for utility bills if they have it. If they have solar, they probably have access to some of their old utility bills to make sure that they're even getting a deal when they owned it. So keep that in mind and always have me ask for that in advance for you guys if solar is really important to you. If you hate solar, tell me that too. But during the winter months, you're pretty much not going to have to pay anything. I would say maybe $80 a month, maybe. Again, I do have solar, so on the winter months, I really don't have to pay anything. If you're unfamiliar with solar, the energy is basically stored up in a very basic, I'm not going to explain it too much because I'll probably butcher it, but the energy is stored up and it essentially overlaps every single month. So for example, I'll get a credit for $100. If I don't use the full $100 in the energy, then that extra, and say I only use $80, then that $20 gets put onto the next month, and it kind of compounds over the months, especially during the winter time if you're not really using much energy at all. People that don't have solar, I would say plan for about $80 a month, and obviously again, depending on your square footage, you might even be paying more. When it comes to water, trash, and sewer, that again is very dependent on where you're located, but probably plan for anywhere between $80 to $150. It's really, really dependent on so many things. For me, for example, it's just me and my boyfriend. For other people who have 3 kids and, you know, the 2 adults, and they're taking bath times all the time and showers and, you know, using up a lot more electricity than me, or what did I say? Water, sewer, and trash. If you guys are using up a lot more things like that, obviously the water is going to cost more the more you use it, right? So just keep that in mind and base that off of your family. I would say if you do use a lot of water, definitely budget for that $150 budget versus the other way around. And then what other utilities? We'll talk about landscaping. That's not necessarily a utility, but we'll just say wrap it into the monthly cost that it costs to like really keep up your home. Landscaping, luckily in Arizona, I would say most of the time you really might not even have to do much landscaping at all. So I would say plan for $100 a month if you really do want to get it landscaped, depending on what type of landscaping you do have. Most houses in Arizona have minimal, like, we're in a desert, right? So we have cactuses, we have rock. Some people have grass, not everyone has grass. And as time has gone on, a lot of these homes, especially in Arizona, because our grass dies so quickly, we like to keep turf in the backyard. So you'll see a lot of turf here in Arizona, which of course keeps down those watering costs, and then obviously keeps down the landscaping costs too. But if you don't, I never really used a landscaper. I always did it myself. But if you guys want to do it, or you have grass and you don't have the time to cut the grass, plan for $100 a month on average. And then pest control, that's another really good one. Obviously we do have bugs here in Arizona. It's not that crazy. I never got my house sprayed and I never had a bug problem. It's really dependent on what location you are in. And especially if you're in a newer home where they are digging up constantly and kind of bringing these pests up to the surface, right? Like spiders, scorpions, for example. We do have scorpions in Arizona. It's not something to be super alarmed about. You can mitigate the problem. Pest control is one way to definitely mitigate the scorpion problem. Again, you rarely see them in your house. They're mostly out in the backyard, also dependent on where you are. I've never seen a scorpion at my house, but my parents also live in Arizona, very close to me, about 10 minutes away. And at one point before they were spraying constantly, they saw quite a bit of scorpions. And funny story, as a family, we would go scorpion hunting, very Arizona vibes. And my dad had like this like special stick and poison, and he would have a black light, because they, of course, they shine like that like bluish color whenever you put a black light over the scorpions, and he would spray them and kill them because he hated scorpions. So definitely think about getting pest control if you are moving to the Phoenix, Arizona area. All right, guys, moving into the next one, something that is very, very important for so many people and probably a huge reason that you might even be moving to the Phoenix, Arizona area is because the affordable housing. It is very refreshing. I have moved from Arizona to Colorado and Colorado back to Arizona because of the pure fact that Colorado is simply so unaffordable and it really is the worst. So lots of you guys are moving from, for example, California. Some of you guys might even be moving from Colorado. Some of you guys might be moving from Seattle, things like that, where the cost of living is quite ridiculous in some of these places. Luckily for the West Valley, which is primarily where the most affordable housing is, like Buckeye, Arizona, Surprise, Avondale, locations like that, you're gonna be looking at an average price point at about $350 to $450. I would say anywhere between there is like, you could get a really nice house. You can get a brand new house for $350, like a good starter home, 3 bedrooms, maybe 1,500 square feet. That's insane. I'll use Colorado as an example. Just to get in your foot in the door, you're looking at $500,000, which is $500,000, which is a lot of money. So I know a lot of people specifically from California who literally cannot afford to live there. So they have to leave if they ever want the hopes of being able to purchase a home. Arizona is obviously super close, so that's really nice for everybody's family. And then you also just get to live this lifestyle, and maybe I might be sounding crazy, right? Like affordable housing doesn't seem like that big of a deal, especially if you do have money. But for people that do have a somewhat of a strict budget, you literally, if you're house poor, it's the worst. You cannot do anything. And I personally much rather live a affordable life and be able to travel and do all these things that I want to do versus just strictly being in a house that's, you know, a starter house that's $500,000, that's falling to the, like crumbling to pieces and falling on the ground. Like I much rather live a simpler life in Arizona, even though it's not my favorite temperature, right? It is a desert. I've been to really pretty places like Colorado, for example, but there's nothing that beats not being house poor. It's like the best. So if you're thinking about living in the Phoenix, Arizona area, you can definitely find something around that $350,000 to $400,000, $450,000 if you really want something super nice. And that's in the West Valley. Definitely want to look into places like Buckeye. I have a video about the most affordable places to live, I think, in the Phoenix area. So go ahead and watch that video once you guys are done here. But Buckeye's a really, really good option. Waddell is a really good option. Santan Valley is a good option if you're looking to be closer to the East Valley, and Maricopa is also a really good option for those affordable housings. And even if you're in those higher price points, for example, you do need a 5-bedroom with a pool, closer to 3,000 square feet, right? Like that's a big house, and that would definitely be a multi-million-dollar property potentially in California. For example, for here, you could probably get into something around 500 to 600,000 during, like in that price point, and it would be a beautiful house. So it's really crazy how you can look at, like, it's very dependent on what your lifestyle's right. Like, so you want to reach out to me. We want to talk about what you're looking for, because Arizona might not be the place for you, but I don't know until we actually are able to hop on a call. So anytime you guys text, call, email me. I always am super eager to get you guys onto a Zoom call just so we can map out exactly what your life is going to look like and what you're planning on for you and your family in the next couple years, because I think I would hate for you to move to Arizona and you absolutely hate it. So I want to make sure we're doing all the things that we possibly can to get you into the right place. So go ahead and reach out to me. My number's down below in the description. It's in the beginning of this video and it's at the end of the video. So if you guys have questions on that, so that's single family home. Let's talk about townhomes, right? That's another super important one. I actually my mom's a realtor in Arizona too, so you'll hear me talking about her a lot as well. She actually just listed a condo, or it was a townhome, beautiful, like brand new on the inside, great location, close to all the shopping that you could possibly want to be close to, 300,000. Super, super cute, not a high HOA. So that's another thing. A lot of people do reach out to me and say they do not want an HOA. I will tell you now, most of Arizona has an HOA, unless you are in very specific areas. So if you're not looking for an HOA, I would definitely say stick to those outskirts of the Phoenix metro area. Probably want to be at least 45 minutes from the Phoenix area, and you might be able to find something that's like an HOA. You also could look into a place called Glendale if you're looking for more affordable housing with no HOA, because again, it's just really hard to find. Most subdivisions here in the Arizona area are going to have an HOA, or if they don't have an HOA, the housing is just more expensive, especially as you get closer to Phoenix. Keep that in mind. Average HOA is probably going to be, I think I pay we'll say for an even number, I don't remember exact numbers, $150 a quarter. So that's nothing. And I even know some of the communities that are paying maybe $80 to $100, and that includes parks, that includes a pool, a community center, things like that. So it's not too bad. Of course, there's going to be some of those outliers where the HOA is a little bit more expensive, but we can definitely keep that in mind when it comes to your budgeting. Another thing, property taxes. Property taxes are very, very minimal in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Of course, it's going to depend on your exact city. For example, I live in Avondale, and I think my property taxes was maybe like $1,800. Not bad at all, especially compared to some of the places that you guys are moving from, where I see like $6,000 for property taxes. And I'm like, whoa, that is absolutely insane. I could never imagine me paying that, because all of these things like HOA, property taxes, and of course the cost of the home, these are all wrapped into your monthly payment. So the more the property taxes are, the more your monthly payment is going to be. The higher the HOA, the more your monthly payment's going to be. Granted, you can't really get away from that, but it's good to know that it's at least affordable. And then of course, affordable housing, which makes the payment even better. So just keep all these things in mind, especially if you guys are watching this video. Like I mentioned, you're probably super interested in the affordable housing aspect. So yeah, we'll head on to the next thing, like car insurance, gas, groceries, inflation. So getting into car insurance, I think that's something that I didn't know I was taking for granted until I moved to Colorado and I realized how expensive car insurance is in other places. So for example, I have a Hyundai, so I don't know if you guys know about the Hyundai situation, but apparently there was a TikTok and people were breaking into Hyundai, so my insurance skyrocketed. But we'll talk about before that happened and what my payments were, just so you guys can get an idea. I do have a 2020 Hyundai Sonata that has a loan on it. So you guys know if you have a loan on your car that it usually costs a little bit more because you have to have more coverage, I believe. So anyways, I'm not an insurance expert, but I do have an insurance contact if you guys have questions about that and what it would cost for you to switch your insurance over here to Arizona. Definitely want to be doing that research in advance because it could make or break you. Probably won't, thank God. So when I was in Arizona, I was paying about $250, I would say, for two cars. One's paid off, one's mine. So $250 for two cars, not bad at all. When I moved to Colorado, it was about $400 a month for two cars. That is a significant price jump. So depending on what state you are moving from, you might be going up, you might be going down. Hopefully you're going down for the sake of saving you guys a little bit of extra coin. But these are things that I just did not realize were a cost because I had never moved out of the state. So now that I'm moving back to Arizona, I could definitely speak on these things that you want to keep in mind when relocating. That was one thing. What is the other thing? Gas. Gas is an important one. You would think Arizona would have maybe some more affordable gas, but obviously we're in a situation economically where inflation is just skyrocketed. So I'm hoping it'll go down in the next year. Crossing my fingers for everyone. Gas is about $4.99 for unleaded right now. And again, you guys know how it is. It's probably the same in your state. It fluctuates like crazy. 1 minute it's 30 seconds above, or 30 cents higher, or it's 30 cents lower. It's just dependent on the day sometimes, but I would say on average, you're looking at about $4.99, which is quite expensive, which makes me scared to even think about how much people are paying for gas in California. If you guys are from California, go ahead and comment down below what is the gas prices while you guys are watching this video, because I'm very interested and scared to know what that is. So keep gas prices in mind. Another thing is going to be not property taxes, sales tax and income tax. Those are two things. Sales tax, not bad here. I don't know the exact percentage, and it also is very, very dependent on where you guys are. If you're closer to Scottsdale, because it is a touristy area, they're going to mark up the pricing and things like that. When it comes to income tax, very, very important, especially me as a realtor, especially if any of you guys are business owners. Let me know if you guys are business owners. Comment down below what your business is named. I will look it up because I'm always looking to add more people to my referral business, but it is only 4% here, which is crazy. Again, I'm always comparing the Arizona things to California because I've done a lot of research on California just because so many people are vacating. So I want to know my clientele that's leaving California, why are they leaving, right? I saw in there 13% income tax. Is that true? Because that is insane. I, again, am scared for this state because I don't know who would be willing to pay that. Hopefully your businesses are located outside of that state because it's just too much. It's too much. So a lot of people are moving to Arizona for that income tax break, which is amazing. And of course, I'm not like a tax or a CPA or anything like that. I'm not very knowledgeable in that at all. All I know is it's a lot cheaper and compared to California, and it's a lot cheaper compared to a lot of states. So that's why people are moving here. They're moving their businesses here. With people moving their businesses here, it's obviously creating more job opportunity for people too, and just continuously boosting our economy here in the Arizona area. Unlike a lot of other states, even in this, I guess, difficult economic situation that we are in the United States in this time, right? So this is, what's today? We're in May 31st. So May 31st, 2023, obviously we're struggling out here as America in general. So we are really in a tough bind, but Arizona is really doing what they need to do to keep these jobs up and running, which is great for our economy. Like I said, people are still building out here, which is just a great sign for, you know, a continuously building economy, which puts you guys in a really good spot financially, really financially, because if you lose your job, that's going to be a problem, of course. So we want to make sure that we are going to continue to build. I think that's great. Also, it does, as Arizona continues to build, you're going to have more affordable housing on the outskirts, which is another really great thing. So I am very, very blessed and lucky to be able to live in such an affordable state. All right, guys, hopefully that guided you into the proper direction that you needed to be guided in, right? So it is so much more affordable to live in Arizona than it is in so many other states. If you guys are interested in relocating here specifically and you wanted to know what the cost of living is, I'm super glad that you guys came to this video. And if you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button. It really helps out my channel and gives me motivation to continue to make these videos for everyone. And then also, if you want more information on relocating, all the cities in the area, where's the best place to relocate if you're looking for X, Y, and Z, right? That's all this channel is about. And I'm gonna be posting every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. So go ahead and subscribe. Number and email are popping up. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.